Good afternoon. Apparently, I started a bit of a firestorm with my post video this morning about Randy. No one seems to care about the sovereign citizen, but Randy's a hot topic. I have stated this in basically most videos where I've covered Randy. I don't like the guy, and I can understand why you don't like him either. I can understand. Maybe you can also understand from my prior coverage of people I don't like Earl or Randy or most of the auditors that I've covered. I still look at things, or I try to look at things, in an unbiased way. I try not to let my personal feelings towards someone cloud my professional judgment about the analysis of their case. Because reality exists, and the people who are going to be looking at any bar complaint, at least in California, there's going to be an attorney assigned to the case, a state bar attorney, and I'm going to call it a coordinator or an investigator for the lack of a better word. So one bar member, one non-bar member, they work together on the case to go through stuff, blah, blah, blah. And you have to remember that there was a change in the bar rules from California's older model, I guess, to a ABA model, the model rules of professional conduct. It's not a one-for-one, but they adopted a lot of the model rules, which reflected older rules. They didn't adopt all of them, and they still have their own spin on them, because as you may not believe, a lot of attorneys get into trouble every year for violating a lot of bar rules. And so these are heavily litigated things. You got to remember that these are attorneys who are violating them, so you get the attorneys who get good attorneys to represent themselves, and you get some really kind of crunchy case law on these things. I think the only ones that get published are like the Supreme Court decisions on them, at least published in like the normal stuff. But the state bar court, you could look up, like if you look up a state bar web, like if you go to an attorney's state bar page in California, if they have any prior disciplinary stuff, it'll give you a case number for it. You go to the California State Bar Court website, and you can put that case number in there, and you could look at the case files in it, all the documents that are filed in the case. But still, you get some really crunchy interpretations. In addition to the state bar decisions, the appellate decisions in the state bar court, you have a lot of state bar opinion pieces on it. There's also local bar opinions on these things that add a lot of flavor to the relatively mild language in the rules. For instance, somebody in the comment section stated that Rule 8.4, which California has adopted, attorney misconduct somehow applied to what any of the allegations against Randy. And that rule, if you look at it just by itself, anything involving moral turpitude. Oh, well, I mean, this is moral turpitude, right? Layman's understanding of what moral turpitude is. Well, that isn't the understanding that the court has. Basically, it's anything involving dishonesty that could be treated as a crime, even if it's not charged or convicted. So I think you see things like attorneys getting popped for intent to defraud or conspiracy to defraud, or like it's fraud. Basically, it's lying for advantage. It's not necessarily lying to the court, that would be its own thing, but it's lying to get advantage in other things that could be charged as crimes. In addition, in that rule, under the notes, not in the rule itself, but in the notes, it specifically exempts First Amendment protected activity. So, like, for example, saying that someone's family would be better off if they killed themselves, you could interpret that as them telling that person to kill themselves, although that's not what they said. But that's First Amendment protected activity. So it specifically would be ruled out from that particular rule. Now, thank you, Big Jim Finch. He has posted a link to Rossman's bar complaint, and I have reviewed it. My biases are I don't like Randy Newman, but I also have a bias that I don't like to see people lose their freedom or their job. I've always had this particular belief. I don't mind seeing Randy get humiliated publicly. I take a lot of schadenfreude in that. I love seeing him being humiliated publicly. I wouldn't want to see him lose his job for it. That said, my unbiased opinion is that nothing in there is going to cost him his license, at least not from California. Now, if New York revokes his license, if New York disbars him, California would almost certainly also disbar him. But I don't know the rules in New York, and I'm not going to take the time to look them up. So I'm looking at this purely from the California Rules of Professional Conduct and Business and Professions Code, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Louis Rossman is a layman. He might be a genius, but he doesn't know shit from fuck about practicing law. One of the many issues that smart people run into is smart people think that they know more than they do know, because they're normally the smartest person in the room, and they normally know more about any given topic than anybody else in the room, but they're not experts at. But if they're not experts at it, then an expert, even a first-year family law attorney, probably knows more about it than they do. Probably understands it better than they do. So Louis Rossman may be a genius. He may be a savant. He may be a high-functioning autist. Who knows? I don't know. I don't care. I've never watched his content. And like I said, I've only seen Sunny Days' shit posts, basically, about him. But his allegations are 90% shit. Pure shit. It's Discord drama. It's nonsense. No one fucking cares. At least I highly doubt the state bar would care. 99.9% sure the state bar would not give a single flying fuck. There are two issues, though, that do have some legs. Some legs. I don't see this as a disbarment event. I see this as possibly a unreported, basically super secret probation event, which the state bar does. Because I had a client who got super secret state bar probation. He had to keep his nose clean for I think it was a year. And if he did that, then he'd be off of the super secret probation. And if you look up his bar number online, which I'm not going to give you, you would find that he has no record of disciplinary action. That doesn't mean the state bar doesn't know, but there's no record of it. And for the record, he did get through his disciplinary or his probationary period just fine. Every time I get an email from the state bar, I poop myself. I'm a nervous Nelly. I always, look for the problems in something first. I always see every way it could go bad. So whenever I get an email from the state bar, I'm like, oh God, no, what is it? Then I open it up and I see it's because of my representation for this other attorney. And then it said, and I'm like, oh no, what did this attorney do? And then it said, oh, this attorney has completed their probationary period, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, woo. Anyway, always, instant hot flash, sweat, blood pressure skyrockets. I do not like dealing with the state bar. But anyway, those two things that potentially have legs. Number one are the attempted communication through a unscrupulous gentleman who used to frequently comment on my channel. I may have muted him because I found him incredibly distasteful prior to this particular incident. He goes by the name of First Name. You could look up his last name if you want to, but apparently he is a piece of shit snitch. And I just want to remind everybody, don't say anything on Discord that you wouldn't say in private or in public. Don't say anything in DM that you would be worried about getting out, because the world is full of Peters. Let's just say that. And everybody running in those Discord circles is more into the drama than they are into anything else. They're there for the drama. They're drama heads. They don't really know the law. They don't really care about the law. It's apparent by the reactions in my comment section on my videos that they absolutely have learned nothing. I mean, like, how many times have I made predictions on a case? And how many times did they come true? And then all of a sudden, because it's a guy they don't like, and a complaint that's being filed by a layperson, all of a sudden, oh, it must be true, and John, you're dumb and wrong, and you don't know nothing about nothing. Oh, wow, wow. So people don't learn, and 90% of the auditor, anti-auditor community is full of just drama hounds. They watch the auditors for the drama. They listen to the anti-auditors for the drama. I mean, it's just all drama. They go on the Discord to keep the drama going. It's people without lives who, don't have anything better to do. And you're going to say, well, you're sitting in your car making a video for YouTube. I know. This is educational, my friends. I don't try to get down into the drama. I'm only in my own Discord channels and a couple Orthodox Discord channels, and I'm not in it for the drama. Anyway, that being said, so the first one is attempting to contact a person they're represented through a third party, indirect communication with a represented party. That one has some legs to it. I don't think that there is any real good defense to it. I'm not representing Randy. He has apparently asked me to represent him in the comment section of my YouTube video, and I have declined to represent. But let me just say that if I were to represent him, I would instruct him to own up to it. Say, you know what, I wasn't thinking, blah, blah, blah. I did it. I shouldn't have done it. And I don't think anything real big would come of it. I don't think he got anything real out of it. Nothing that he couldn't have just handled through discovery. He should have just done it through discovery. He was stupid for doing it. He might get a reprimand from the state bar, but I don't see that amounting to much. The other issue is the solicitation issue. Now, solicitation is banned. You can't contact people and say, hey, I want to represent you on this. The old adage about ambulance chasing lawyers. The state bar has done a lot of work to try to disincentivize that, let's just say. Going as far as a lawyer that I know was using a website called lawyer.com for referrals. Well, they got stopped from doing referrals by the state bar because what was actually happening was potential clients were just posting. And lawyer.com would then forward these posts to attorneys, and then the attorneys would contact the client. The client didn't contact for representation. They just posted about their issue. And it was a gray enough area that the state bar said, you can't do that. You can't do that. So it is a no-no. It absolutely is a no-no. But he didn't use overt enough language to really say. And he posted ads. That's a questionable area. It's a gray enough area that I don't think the state bar is going to drop on him like a bag of hammers. Again, is that something that they could reprimand him on? Sure. Is it something that he might get super secret probation for? Sure. Is it something that he's going to get disbarred for? No. All the other nonsense is just nonsense. It's just Discord drama nonsense. Randy is a reprehensible person, and I don't like him, but he's not going to get disbarred over it. So I think that really covers it. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to add on the situation. Avoid people like Peter. Avoid people like Randy. If you're coming into my comment section to tell me I don't know the law, well, I mean, if you're an attorney, you at least have some basis for saying that. But if you're not, you might be suffering from Dunning-Kruger. If you think that all of a sudden I'm biased and wrong, and so my decision is biased and wrong, well, you should check my track record. I'm wrong way more often, or I'm right way more often than I'm wrong, at least on predictions about outcomes in legal matters. And you also have to remember that not only have I had people make unsolicited complaints against me who weren't my client. And so I kind of have an understanding from that process. And no, you don't get to see the complaints. The people who sent them to me, or the people who filed them, sent them to me. Like, ha ha ha, I did this, like I'm going to worry about it. So I have some experience from that end, and I also have experience representing multiple lawyers in multiple state bar inquiries. And again, some of them were from non-clients. And so I have an understanding based on that too. In addition, opposing counsel in one of my cases, I wasn't there when he did it, but a client retained him going through a divorce. He got her the status only, meaning she was a divorced person. She was free to remarry, but like all the other issues in the divorce weren't finalized. And then he marries her. Now, there's a clear prohibition against engaging in romantic relationships with clients, unless there is if there's a romantic relation before you start representing the client, then you could represent the client and continue the romantic relationship. But if there's not, clear prohibition against it. I know because the client got a copy of the letter from the state bar. They found it during discovery because they were wondering why he was still representing her after they complained to the state bar. All the state bar did was send him a letter of reprimand. It never showed up on his attorney record. And he clearly, obviously violated that rule. Clearly, obviously, no two ways about it. So first of all, people have their hopes up on if the state bar is going to take action. There is a high likelihood still the state bar won't take action, because the things that he said and the things he did aren't necessarily going to give the state bar reasons to do anything. They're low-level stuff. If he got a settlement for DMA and then pocketed that settlement and never paid DMA out, and DMA complained about it, boy, he'd be disbarred. 90% sure. But this stuff is low level. They might not even investigate it. If they do investigate it, considering he has a long track record without history, at least the California State Bar is concerned. That guy just docked hard in his little Miata. I highly doubt he'll get anything other than like a reprimand or maybe super secret probation. So again, if I was Randy, I would probably neck myself. No, I'm joking. But if I was Randy, I'd be very unhappy with my position in life, and I'd do everything I could to become not Randy. But if I was representing Randy, I wouldn't be very concerned for him. Low-level stuff at best. And everybody got their hopes up. Sorry, I don't like him either. So sorry, but you're not going to get the disbarment you guys were all hoping for. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.